Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. And I tell you what, it's a very interesting situation as a new Declan Rice bid goes in for Manchester United. Or does it? Well, they're saying that it is. Also, apparently, according to Italian reports, we're very close to ONANA. Now, this is interesting and it's caused a bit of a fuffle on Twitter in the last half an hour because James Ducker did put a tweet out saying that he hadn't said it and has subsequently deleted it because it is there in a Telegraph article that, and it has got James Ducker's name attached to it. And this is what they're saying. This is what they're hearing. United have lodged a third bid for Chelsea midfielder Mason Mount worth up to 55 million after their opening two offers were rejected. They are prepared to offer Harry Maguire and or Scott McTominay plus cash for Declan Rice, but City and Arsenal are the front runners. That's significant. Manchester United, they're hearing, are prepared to offer Harry Maguire and or Scott McTominay plus some cash for Declan Rice, but City and Arsenal remain front runners. Eric Ten Hag wants Kane, but may have to settle for a cheaper, more alternative and attainable alternative, although Højlund and Ramos would still cost a lot. David De Gea's contract expires on July the 1st, and he's yet to sign an extension with Inter Milan's ONANA, one of several targets. United's protracted takeover saga is not making a complicated summer any easier, and that attaches James Ducker's name to it. But we're going to cut... Dave says, Rabbit's not coming. Well, I don't want Rabbit. Unless it's Peter Rabbit, that little shit. I hope we don't give Garnacho number 7. He's not ready. We're not going to talk about that, Zuteng. No way. Why do people tune into a show and then just throw in a completely irrelevant topic in right at the start? As if I'm going to go, yeah, we're not going to talk about the big thing we want to talk about. I want to talk about something we've spoken about 3 times already. We're going to talk about this. So, look, they're hearing the Telegraph that Manchester United are willing to offer Harry Maguire and Scott McTominay for Declan Rice. And I tell you what, I'll say it and I'll say it again. If Manchester United were capable of getting a deal like that done under the current regime, I would have to sit down and say that is the level of efficiency you expect from a top football club. Because that deal, as we were discussing this last week as a hypothetical, if that really is an offer that Man United are willing to make and we don't win, well, I'm very surprised because Harry Maguire and Scott McTominay for Declan Rice and a bit of cash for West Ham, they've got to be all over that. I mean, that's a fantastic deal all round. Declan Rice comes to Man United, we get Declan Rice. West Ham get a little bit of money, but they get Scott McTominay and Harry Maguire, who, to be fair to West Ham, those two players slot straight into their first team. You don't have to go and negotiate with other clubs that know you've got £90 million in your skyrocket. It's there. I said this last week. If I was West Ham, I would be all over getting a couple of players in like that for Declan Rice. Because the problem is when if Brighton do get 80 million quid, and fairness, Brighton will have already spent it well. But this always happens. You sell a player, you sell them for 80 million quid, but everyone knows you've got 80 million quid, and they overcharge you as well. It's a good deal, but it still says that Manchester City and Arsenal remain favourites. And look, I've had it from very, very good sources over the weekend that Declan Rice, as long as Arsenal compete with Man City for the fee, he will choose Arsenal. He wants to go to Arsenal. So look, maybe the ship has already sailed with that. Maybe Arsenal have put the work in, and that's where Declan Rice wants to go regardless. But you'd ask the question why Manchester United haven't thought about doing this sooner. Harry Maguire's ego would get in the way of that swap, says Anthony. Well, also, the one thing I saw somebody in the chat saying they're absolutely right. Billy Bedford says it's just crap to keep us distracted from the sale. You're probably right. And what would you think about the pair being included in a deal, says Ash. Look, the reason I said if they did that deal, I'd give a huge credit to the recruitment team is because it would take a bit of work to do it. I mean, Declan Rice for Scott McTominay and Harry Maguire makes sense. It really makes sense because we want to sell them. West Ham would really like those players, and Declan Rice, I think, would do really, really well at Man United. The problem you've got is you're not swapping, a couple of tins of soup for, a tin of baked beans. You're actually swapping footballers with agents and everyone wants a slice of the pie, don't they? When a player moves, an agent makes money. You've got 3 players involved in that. If Arsenal offer 90 million for Declan Rice, 90 million goes to West Ham and Declan Rice, you just deal with Declan Rice. We saw this with Mkhitaryan and Sanchez. You've got 2 agents involved, and it was actually Mkhitaryan that held that deal up. So I think it would be very, 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 very difficult for United to do that, because Harry Maguire's on 200 grand a week. Does Harry Maguire want to go to West Ham? Does Scott McTominay want to go to West Ham? Does it? It would be very, very difficult. And it's also something that you don't come in late to. It's a good deal for West Ham, and it's an interesting deal for Declan Rice, and I think it's a good deal for Maguire and McTominay. But you don't come in late when Man City and Arsenal are offering fees to try and get that deal done. We know it's not going to happen. We know it won't happen, but that should have been a deal we were working on from March. Arsenal have been working on Declan Rice since January. Man United held talks with Declan Rice in May. We should have been working on this deal a lot longer. The fact that Harry Maguire doesn't know whether he wants to leave or not, he should have been told about West Ham and, aware of that and comfortable with that. When you're offering players up, the players have got to be comfortable with it. And it feels to me like it just doesn't seem viable. Curtis, thank you and welcome to Members Club. Just a bit of a reminder as well, we've got Fabrizio Romano on That's Football at 2:20 straight after this show. We'll push you over there. We're going to be asking Fabrizio Romano about Rabiot. Remember this morning on the morning show, there's talk that he's going to sign for Juventus on Wednesday from Italian reports. So we're going to ask Fabrizio Romano a direct question about that at 2:20, because there's people out there talking about how Rabiot fits in. Well, if he ain't coming, there's no point. Curtis, welcome to Members Club. Let's reignite United, says Mark. I hope you're well. We've ruined this transfer window. Feels like the second season with Jose. Do you think this is going to be a December sacking? I wouldn't go that far. The thing about a Rice deal is you're not only signing a top player and a future captain, you're winding 2 rivals who would have been much stronger, says Nick. Mate, I would be all over the Declan Rice deal like I'd be over custard and apple pie. And I love custard and apple pie. Yeah, I'd be all over it. But, and you're right, because Man City and Arsenal are teams that we need to try and catch. If you could take a player that both those teams want, it's about ambition, it's about progress, it's about where you want to be. I want Declan Rice. I'm sure you want Declan Rice. Declan Rice for Maguire and McTominay would be a fantastic deal. Ten Hag wants Declan Rice, and it would indicate and represent, Man City and Arsenal would be sat there like going, shit, we wanted him and he's gone to Man United. This is why if Arsenal get him, it's great, because you're taking a player that Man City want. I've been saying this for years, and I think many of you have agreed. When you buy a player, the more players you buy that Man City would want, the more chance you've got of catching Man City. It's as simple as that. Unfortunately, people in the chat will say, well, Man City wanted Fred, they wanted Harry Maguire, they wanted Alexis Sanchez. I don't think they did. I think Pep was taking the piss. I think that was a time where United were thick, and well, probably still are, and Pep was doing it on purpose. I really want Harry Maguire. Watch what they do. I really want Harry Maguire. Watch this. This would be great. Yeah, I really do want Harry Maguire. I think he's going to be the best centre-back in European football. Yeah, I'll go up to 70 million. Watch what they do. Watch what they do. The fuck do I want Harry Maguire? What am I going to do with him? Get him to sweep the car park? No, I really do. 70 million, but we're not going any higher. They've got and bought him for 80 million. I told you. Let's do it again. But look, Declan Rice is a different kettle of fish, isn't he? I think it'd be a very good deal. I genuinely am baffled, by the way, as to why Pep Guardiola genuinely wanted Harry Maguire. A large part of me wishes we could witness that, because we wouldn't witness him in a red shirt. But I really do think that, that Harry Maguire deal, it's almost like the butterfly effect, isn't it? Not only did we do the worst transfer deal in history, if we'd backed out and let Man City go for him, Man City probably implode. They don't win a treble. That deal sort of is the butterfly effect to our shit last few years, isn't it? Because if he had gone to City, Pep's a great manager, but he's not a miracle worker. There ain't no way Man City would win a treble with Harry Maguire in there. So, they ended up with Diaz instead, didn't they? Do you think Man United should go for Mount or Rice, says Adams? They should go for both. They're very different players. And United are very focused on new signings, but need to sell the deadwood to make the funds, which will allow for signings easier to obtain. Love the show, says Jordan. You're stating the obvious. Someone tell Man United about that. So look, yeah, this coming in from the Telegraph. As things stand, United are still very much in for Mason Mount. Their striker situation, as we know, is not going to be Harry Kane at the moment. But there is this mention of United being prepared to offer Harry Maguire and Scott McTominay for Declan Rice, but City and Arsenal are the front runners. The thing I would like to know, because the devil's in the detail, I would love to know if United are prepared to offer those players, are they actually willing to go to West Ham? Because if they're not, it's just like Rafnik says, it's just spin, spin, spin. And I feel that. Mark, what I don't get is why we get all these journalists say they're credible with United, but yet we spend all transfer window with stories that don't happen, says Sean. Well, yeah, because ultimately, as many of you will suspect and no doubt think, it's Monday. Tomorrow's Tuesday, then it's Wednesday, and there is no sale of Manchester United. So, United, it seems to me that United don't mind if they get attached to a story that's never going to happen, as long as it... Look, United can say all they like. There's a lot of people who work there, and we've already had confirmation in the past of people who work at that football club on individual players and spinning positive PR. We've already had the stories about, United have put it out in their shareholders meetings, how active their socials are during the transfer window. Like, they're fully aware. They can't ever admit it because it's like Partygate, isn't it? You can't admit that you're manipulating your fan base, but they do. Of course they do. They know it. They know. They even put it on their own bloody website, don't they, sometimes? United link to this, United link to that. They're just creaming off the bloody transfer chaos as much as anybody else does. I don't understand how a team that got third and has a well-regarded manager is struggling to attract players against teams not even in the Champions League, says Stephen. Well, we're not. We're not struggling to get players. We're just not in for them. I think you're talking about Casido there, which we're going to ask Fabrizio about in a few minutes. And, there's no reason for us to lose to Chelsea with Casido, apart from the fact we're probably not offering anything. Mark, Maguire makes a lot of assists for the opposition, says Jordan. Thank you very much for your super chat there, Jordan. And also, Kevin says, what would be better, getting Casido and then next season Mount on a free, or getting just Declan Rice, says Kevin. I don't mind, because you've just described a situation where we get Rice or Casido, which for me would be absolutely fantastic. But let's talk about the goalkeeper situation, because ONANA, according to Italian reports, is getting closer and closer to a Manchester United move. Now, we have had some developments around the goalkeeper situation today. Coming in from Chris Wheeler, Daily Mail, says if De Gea signs a new contract, Dean Henderson has been lined up for a permanent move to Nottingham Forest worth £15 million plus add-ons. Samuel Luckhurst, who is the lead of the Dean Henderson fan club, I'm joking, he does like him though, says Dean Henderson is convinced he will join Nottingham Forest on a permanent deal and is understood to be perplexed by suggestions he could stay at Manchester United. So there seems to be, I said this last night, it doesn't make any sense as to why Dean Henderson is being linked with staying at Manchester United, considering we had a story from the Manchester Evening News last week that Ten Hag is pissed off with Dean Henderson. And we've had another story from the Manchester Evening News today, who are obviously very close to Dean Henderson, saying that he fully expects to go and has no indication that he'll be staying. And yet, the Daily Mail and a few other people are saying that if David De Gea stays, Dean Henderson will go. But what happens if David De Gea goes? Does Dean Henderson stay? We better hope that David De Gea stays. But I actually think the truth is, De Gea goes, Henderson goes, and ONANA comes in. I think there's three possibilities here. I think all of them should end with Dean Henderson going, and one of them is Dean Henderson and De Gea goes. But the goalkeeper situation really is quite perplexing itself. You beg the question, why has Dean Henderson not been sold? Why are we not selling Dean Henderson? Because in every scenario, even he thinks he's leaving. So why have we not cashed in? £15 million plus add-ons for Dean Henderson is shit, by the way. but he's on big wages. He's on 150 grand a week, 140 grand a week. So we should be getting 25 million pounds for Dean Henderson. It shouldn't matter if Maguire or McTominay want to leave or not. You force them by telling them they can expect no minutes if they stay, says Diego. Yep. You say that, but if they got Maguire, City have the cash to keep spending to get the right centre-back and replace him like they did with the fullbacks, says Nathan. Good point. And Maguire won't accept a salary cut and give out his honorary captain badge at United. By the way, we just signed Harry Amas. He's an exciting young player. Yeah, I saw that, Mario. I think it's from Watford, fullback. I mean, look, one thing I will say about young players is we've been through this for years. I remember under Van Gaal we signed some lad from Coventry. I can't remember his name. He was about 16. He was meant to be fantastic. I don't think I ever heard of him again. And that's the thing when you buy these young players. You hope they're going to be good, but there's no guarantee. And you've got to buy good young players, and it's encouraging. But obviously we're dealing with the here and now, aren't we? Mark, and we need to buy players for the now. Mark, seriously, when are we adding excitement to our squad with signing new players, says Neil? I'd love to tell you. And hi, Mark, who do you think will be our first signing of the window, says Tom? That's a great question. I said at the start of June it looked like it would be Mount or Højlund. We're now at the end of June, and I would say I still think it will be Mount or Højlund. But my third option would be haven't got a clue who our first signing would be. And I'd probably jump on that. If I had three choices now, Mount, Højlund or haven't got a clue, I think I'd choose haven't got a clue. I don't know, really. I don't think... The most important thing is, if you ask United, I think they'd go that as well. 2 summers ago, we missed out on Sancho and signed Ahmad and Palestri. If we miss key targets this summer, but focus on selling Deadwood and buy young talent, says Anthony. Well, we're going to be going across to Fabrizio in a minute, who's going to give us a couple of updates. On ONANA, I've already spoken about ONANA. A lot of people are saying ONANA. I've already spoken about ONANA. Apparently, Manchester United are very, very close to getting this deal done, according to Italian reports. But I'm not 100% and never have been 100% convinced about Italian reports. They can be a little bit hiss and miss, which is why we're going to ask Fabrizio Romano now about what is happening with these Italian reports and what is happening with Rabiot, because you do get a lot of crap put out there. But look, it's interesting about the Declan Rice thing, and I think, if you're not, I will say it and I'll say it again, if United get Declan Rice and remove Maguire and McTominay to West Ham, I don't think anybody loses there. I think everybody wins. And as a reminder as well, just before we go over to Fabrizio, there is a protest at the Megastore tomorrow against the Glazers. Obviously, it coincides with the start of the new kit being launched. The problem is, I think a lot of people have already pre-ordered that new kit. I don't know where I sit on that. Let's talk about that at 8 o'clock. What do you think about that? Protesting about the people buying new kits. Have we moved past that yet? The money's already gone to the Glazers from Adidas. I think protests are always a good thing, but so many people have already ordered that kit. Are you now guilt-tripping them? I mean, look, I'll be doing a protest at Carrington as well on the treatment of David De Gea. I suspect I might be the only one there. I suspect it's a little bit like a vegetarian queuing up for a burger. A bit of a waste of time. But I will be there. I will be there anti-selling De Gea. So choose your protest. I'll be on my own, won't I? Mark, will you be at the pre-season game versus Arsenal, says Roberto? I look, genuinely, honestly, I don't know what the plans are for the trip, for the tour at the moment. United Stand will be there, but I don't know what I'm doing at the moment. Beth will be at the Megastore. Starts my morning with your show daily all the way from Malaysia. At this rate, who do you think will be the first signing for United, says Nish. Well, let's get over to Fabrizio because he's live with Will on That's Football Now and he'll be answering some of these questions. So I'm back at 8 o'clock tonight. Just a quick update now and let's get over to Fabrizio and see what he's got to say. Make sure you smash a like on your way out and let's go and see what Fabrizio's got to say about Rabiot and Casido.